There once was a time when I lived abroad. It was the first time in my life that I'd been away from my family for an extended period of time. I brought it with me and placed it on my bed. Then I opened it up, and inside I found dozens of handwritten letters. And as I read it, the world around me began to shift. The walls dissolved, and I found myself walking down a street from my childhood. And so I continued to read the letters, each one taking me to a different place, for not saying the words that needed to be said. And when I finished the last letter, I felt lighter, freer, more whole. To me, the one who stayed quiet for too long, I hear you now. When I finished writing, I folded the letter and placed it in the box, then closed the lid and walked away. A different time, allowing me to revisit moments that I had long forgotten. I could hear birds, I could feel the sun on my skin, and I turned around and I saw myself, younger, smaller, walking ahead of me. They were all addressed to people I knew, all written with the deepest of emotions. And then I saw the dates and my heart sank because I realized that they were all written by me. Moments in my life, years in some cases, and yet they were never sent. And while I loved exploring Europe, there were days when I missed my bed, my family, my friends, my life. A letter to my ex-boyfriend apologizing for hurting him. A letter to my best friend thanking her for always being there. And as I continued reading, I realized that these letters contained some of the most powerful words I had ever written. Words that at the time I thought were important. Words that I thought would change everything, but they never did. There were days when I wanted to call it quits and come back home. Then one day I found this little wooden box in the attic of my childhood home. I walked through tall trees, and I felt the soft earth beneath my feet. And then we came across a clearing, and in the distance, I saw a younger version of me sitting on a log writing in a journal. And as I approached, I heard myself say the words that I had written all those years ago. And as I spoke them, a light began to glow and a weight lifted. There was a letter to my father for all of his sacrifices. As I reached the end of the box, I came across a letter to my younger self. And so I followed my younger self into the forest. I realized in that moment that these unspoken words had been holding me back, keeping me from moving forward. With each letter that I read, I forgave myself for staying silent, for not speaking up. Then I sat down, and I took out a piece of paper, and I wrote one last letter.